Hey everyone, this is Alaska from Call Out Culture. I hope you're enjoying the podcast. And if you are enjoying the podcast and you feel inspired to start your own, let me tell you about the system that we use. It is called Anchor. Best things about Anchor, it's free. There's tools that allow you to create and record and edit your podcast right from your phone and your computer. You can even add a song from Spotify directly into your episodes. The possibilities are endless of what you could create, whether it's like music analysis or your own radio show or something that the world's never heard before. I don't know what that is. You figure that out. Not my job, yours. Anchor is going to distribute the podcast for you so it'll be heard on Spotify, Apple, and all the other podcast you can use. Like all you do is you upload your podcast and boom, it appears in the other feeds. You can also make money through advertisements like this, or you can also set up like your own sort of Patreon fan support thing. There's no minimum listenership, and everything you need to make your podcast is in one place. So if you want to do a podcast, you want to be like us here at Call Out Culture, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm and get started.
Welcome to Call Out Culture Podcast with Alaska, Curly Castro, and Zilla Rock.
Welcome back to your favorite podcaster's favorite podcast. It's Call Out Culture.
It's us.
The number one unformatted, unscripted rap podcast where we come up with a topic and we talk about it.
Yeah.
Today, we are joined by the one and only Marcus Pinn.
Hello. It's an
How
honor
are
to
you,
be
sir?
back on. Good. I'm great.
It's good to have you back, man.
Yeah,
And coming off of your amazing work on Little Robert Hutton.
Yeah, that was great. I'm seeing so much like press about it from all the outlets that I follow and stuff on Twitter and Facebook. Yeah, it's really dope. Be a part of
man.
that. Yeah.
It's
my man
awesome
was a part of Steel's Kitchen. Throwing the cuts on there.
Yeah, if we're gonna be, Steel's Kitchen. I got upcoming stuff for Alaska.
Yeah.
Even your adjacent. I did the cuts on Prem Rock's last album, which is really dope. That was dope to do also. So yeah, no, all of you guys. So yeah, like long. I think I said this the last time I was on, but like before this podcast existed, I was a fan of all your guys' music individually. So it's kind of cool to
Thank you, man.
add a little little scratch into whatever I can. So yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
And you also host your own podcast, Zebras in America.
I do, yes, with my buddy Scott Doro.
Scott.
Yeah, we haven't recorded in a while. We've just been so busy, but we've got a couple of episodes in the can now. I'm not sure when they're gonna go up, but yeah, check out Zebras in America and my film site, which I said I was gonna stop for a few months with my son being born, but I just couldn't help it. I've been writing some new stuff recently. So PinlandEmpire.com has a bunch of new stuff up.
Nice.
So yeah.
Get
Nice.
with Pinland Empire and all forms of media.
Word.
Before, since you're the man with the vast knowledge of cinema, and last week we had our Halloween episode. I wonder what your
People have
thoughts
been
were.
loving that one. People have been
It's
enjoying
been getting good response.
Killmatic. We should make that the shirt.
It's such
Killmatic.
I listened to it at work. I just happened to stumble up like early in the morning. I get to work early all the time. So I was doing my morning scroll and then I saw the correlation between Nas and Michael in the Halloween movie. It's like, I never even thought about this. It was like, it's so perfect because it's kind of true. We don't need to rehash the episode, but I definitely agree with that assessment and the comparison of Nas to Michael Myers movies, I guess Halloween movies, Michael Myers movies. So yeah, because it's like Halloween is. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, what about the comparison between Nas and Mike Myers? Wayne's World, Illmatic, same thing.
It's fun. It's just.
I married an axe murderer. It was written.
They both had really weird moments with Kanye.
Yeah. Yeah.
Weird moments with Kanye.
I just remember. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say. So I'd love to get your thoughts on Halloween Kills because we briefly talked about it.
We did. We talked about it a little bit actually off record, but I wasn't a fan.
I didn't watch it yet. So let's move on to something else.
See, that's the I'm not going to give any spoilers. It definitely needs to be seen. I will say it is getting a lot of harsh criticism. I wasn't a fan, but it's one of those things like I didn't like it, but it's like you kind of have to see it. Like
Right.
it's just one of those kind of movies. I definitely won't spoil anything, but even if I'm also a big fan of David Gordon Green, the guy who directed
Yes.
it.
All
Not
the real
maybe
girls, bro.
recently.
All the real girls
Exactly.
forever.
I was a day one guy, so it's like
Day
George
one.
Washington, All the
Yup.
Real Girls,
Yes.
Undertow, and
Yeah.
Snow Angel. So it's weird that era of his filmography, it's almost forgotten for the most part. It's like a lot of people jumped on him. It was like from Pineapple Express.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are like, well, he was a comedy director first. And it's like, well, no, he wasn't. But it's like, that's what people know. It's almost like what we're about to get into now. It's like people only know a certain subject for one thing, when it's like, no, there was a whole career of stuff that he did before. So and but I'll watch anything David Gordon Green does, even if I know I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna like this. He's kind of an interesting, fascinating guy, and he always keeps usually the same folks. He always works with Danny McBride, whether it's in front of or behind the camera. His cinematographer, Tim Orr, he didn't shoot this Halloween movie, but Tim Orr usually shoots a lot of his stuff. So yeah, he's a fascinating guy. So, but yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Halloween Kills, but I don't feel like I wasted my time watching it. And plus I saw the first one. So I'm one of those guys, it doesn't take much for me to get hooked onto something. So now I'm going to watch the third one,
Same.
Yeah.
I feel the same. I watched both last weekend. I really liked the new one, the first one, and then this Halloween Kills. I was just very confused. I didn't grasp it, but I feel like it depends on, and again, I'm not spoiling anything. I think it depends on what type of horror you enjoy, because they're two different genres of horror movies to me.
That's true.
The first one and the second one. So like the second one, that style of genre, that's up Alaska's alley. That's not my thing, but I could see why he liked it. Whereas I was into it just because of everything you said about David Gordon Green and seeing the first one and Danny McBride writing it. So I like the first one more, but I have to see the third one.
Yeah.
Like, I have to see where this goes.
Yeah.
And it's also, again, no spoilers, but I just feel like with Halloween Kills, especially, there were like two moments too that just made me break and just kind of do the whole, like, it made me feel like an old Def Jam comedian where it's like, would you just kill him, please? Like there's like a couple of moments like, oh Jesus, could just kill him, finish it. But yeah.
I mean, I think I really like the first one of the series, although there is a moment in it where I'm just like, what the fuck was that? With the doctor.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
I was just like that was stupid.
Yeah.
Like, so that was the only part of any of these movies that took me out of it.
Sure.
I thought the second was hilarious.
Exactly.
Like, I was just laughing.
But I feel like it wasn't back to back. It was a very odd experience.
Yeah.
It wasn't intentionally hilarious.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
That's what I was about to. Yeah. I don't know if that was intentional, but yeah, there was some parts that made me laugh.
Yeah. I mean, Evil Dies Tonight. I was dying every time they said it.
Just an awkward chant.
Yeah.
Too many syllables for a chant to jump into. It's got like 2 to 3 syllables, like at most.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, it doesn't roll off the tongue.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, but speaking of unstoppable killing machines, let's talk about tonight's topic.
Yeah.
Mr. LL Cool J. We're thinking it's a lineage of greatness. We think he's kind of earned the title of being one of the greatest.
Absolutely.
Correct.
And my first question to you all is, are you hat all the time era LL Cool J, or no hat or visor LL Cool J?
Ooh.
Oh.
Because for a long time there was a rumor that like he had a horribly scarred head.
Yes.
And that's why he always wore a hat.
Yeah, it was like a thing. Like he doesn't take his hat off, and it was like.
But that was up until Up All Night, and that's when visors started.
Yeah.
When he was on the show. The TV show Up All Night.
Luke joint?
No, he was on. This is where y'all have a big gaping hole in y'all LL memory. LL was on television. LL was on television.
I watched that show.
Show Up All Night with Alfonso Ribeiro.
What?
And wasn't the
that
Cologeno's
show
girlfriend?
Yes, Jane.
That show.
Wasn't she in it as well?
Who?
Cologeno's girlfriend?
Terrell
Hicks.
Yeah.
No, it's not Terrell Hicks. It's the other one. It's
I
Reagan.
know who you're talking
it's
about.
not Reagan Gomez either. It's the other. It's the Marcus. It's the third one, isn't it? It's the one from South Central.
Oh yeah, I don't know her name, but
she's had a hard time at it, but she was on that show.
That's fun. Wow.
Because
that was the big.
What the hell show was
it?
This?
It was after Fresh Prince. That was like the big thing. It was like Carlton has a new show. It's with LL Cool J. There was even an episode of that show about him not taking his hat.
In the house, yes.
In the house, not up
in the house. Yeah, I knew.
That
was the homegirl. She was in the Tyrese video.
Yeah.
That's what I remember.
Mia Campbell.
Yes.
Naive Campbell. Yep.
Yeah.
There she is.
House. And Debbie Myers, right?
Debbie Myers? That's not her name.
Well, what's her name? The dancer.
Debbie Allen.
Debbie
Allen. Yeah.
I forgot Alfonso Ribeiro was on this show.
Felicia Rashad's sister.
I used to watch the shit out of this show. Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that show
was in it.
Where
the Wayne sister. She wasn't on the show at first. She joined later on.
She joined later,
and she kind of killed it. She was like she was the
best. She was one of the best characters. She
won. She won. I don't want to say it was like a Golden Globe, but she won some kind of award. And it was one of those things too, where it's like when a show's been on for a couple seasons and you invite a new character, that's usually like the end. It's like the beginning of the end, but this was kind of the opposite.
Yes,
it's the Leonardo Dicaprio casting.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh yeah,
when they brought
the
yeah, no, I'm sorry. When they brought the cousin on the Brady Bunch, when Erica Alexander joined the Cosby Show.
Yeah.
When the little redheaded kid joined Different Strokes.
Yeah, dude from Salute Your Shorts, Buddy Budnick.
Bobby Budnick. Bobby Budnick. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that was Sam from.
Shoot, even when Olivia joined the Cosby Show.
Yep.
But she was on a little longer. But all right.
Oh, so Lark Voorhees popped up on that show. She also in the house.
What show?
Yeah, she did.
She did.
Towards the end, they brought her in. Yep.
So to answer your question, Laska. So, mine was Kango.
Kango? Yeah.
So like, I always tell people that Run DMC, they were like industry plants for me. I didn't really like them when they was coming up. I felt like they were just, I felt it was everything.
I'm kind of in the same boat as you, actually.
It's kind of too, by the time they got rolling, they were too touched. And then you make a movie and they're like the main people, like you that stuff, you see through that stuff. So it's like, Run is already, like Crush Groove drops, Run is already up and running. And then they're like a corporate group, like they're performing at Macy's and stuff. Like, they were that group. So to me, when I saw LL on Crush Groove, that was like a living, breathing embodiment of like hip hop, from the clothing, the way he came in, the way he did his y'all know that move when he was counting, he would curve his legs in. It's hard to describe. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking. That move when he was doing his move. And he accentuated with that. It's actually the stanky leg and the stomp.
Yo, it kind of is. He does it a lot in the video for I'm Bad.
Yes. A lot of stomping, that stomping.
Yes. He does that dance extra hard. Yeah,
he started that in Crush Groove when he came in box, and so to me, that was like hip hop. And I know of hip hop before, but like in a movie, like boom, that's like a, that's like quote unquote hip hop. And I remember that in the Kango. That was my first thing with that.
Yeah, and he always kind of struck me as like the audience member. You know what I mean? Like sort of like the person that like we would be if we came into it. Like, you know what I mean? As a kid, you're like a 16-year-old kid. Yeah. He's just like running up in there. It's like, it was sort of like he sort of represented the fan to me. I mean, I know he wasn't, but he was like, he wasn't Run DMC. He wasn't the established artist.
Yeah.
He was like Kumo and Kane and them. Like there was some, like it was some establishment with them. Like you could see the money or corporate, whatever. Like, they were polished, like type thing. LL just seemed like, he just likes to rap. And it was more pure from him.
That's true. That's
especially
very true.
At that point, like to me, Run DMC was doing a lot of like choreographed rhymes. Like these things were very Sesame Street accessible, not simple, but they were done in a way where everybody could memorize everything. I know that was deliberate. And as far as like just spitting, they stopped spitting a while ago. You know what I'm saying? And then that's for like LL was like spitting. At that point, he didn't have those like corporate sensibilities. He didn't have to make good on Adidas deals or anything like that.
Yeah,
I always felt the same, but I had no issue with the Fat Boys and Disorderlies, which is weird.
Well, because there was, to me, I'm with you on that. Anybody that wasn't rapping like too seriously, I didn't have to take them too seriously.
Yeah,
so
right.
Exactly. So I could just absorb what they were doing, and they could all three of them could rhyme and box. He could beatbox that. So I felt like, again, it was like that purity of skill when it came to it. Like, again, even at this point, to me, like Melly Mel and them a little commercialized. Like, it's, that stuff got cookie cutter, maybe a cereal box. I wasn't feeling that. I was feeling still like what was raw and underground and seemed pure, even at that early stage.
Yeah. Like, I knew of LL. I was in love with this dude. Mainly when Mama Said Knock You Out. Like, that era was when I really loved him live.
It was like 10 years later.
Yeah. And then the Mr. Smith thing was like, that was hitting me at the right age, because then he had like Doing It and Hey Lover and Loungin'. And then he had like I Shot You remixed and 4321. He just had like a really, and then that's when he did it In the House, and he had like a book, and then
we get
he was
into
doing the FUBU and the Gap.
Phenomenon. Like, don't forget Phenomenon.
I mean,
no, I'm just,
well, the album's not that good, but it has 4321
on it.
Right.
Yeah. No, but it's that song. The song was popular as well as the movie, even though it hadn't been doing it. I can't remember all those little social, like, plot points. That, to me,
movie? What are you talking about? Phenomenon?
What movie?
The movie, people.
Michael Travolta, the John Travolta Phenomenon movie?
Yeah, man.
That wasn't LL.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter. Yo,
what the hell are you talking about?
That was on some Scientology stuff.
That movie, if you didn't know about Scientology much, you just thought, oh man, Travolta got powers. And
that's what I thought he did. I thought he got hit by a comet or something. He was dying, or I don't know what the fuck happened in that movie.
It's like loose. It was like based on a Philip K. Dick story or some Scientology story.
I didn't know that.
It was like a passion project for John Travolta. It wasn't just Battlefield Earth. That wasn't his only passion project. He did Phenomenon because it was rooted in Scientology.
I never knew this stuff.
Yeah,
you guys are enlightening me.
Yeah.
Mix between a comet and a tumor, and they're trying to.
Oh, right. There was the cancer thing. Yeah, there was also the cancer element in it also.
Tumor. Or the tumor was actually.
Was he in Powder as well? Speaking of John Travolta supernatural movies.
No, that was Powder. That was Jeff Goldblum.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
But this is why we need Marcus every week.
I had all those VHSs. All those things were coming out at the same time. You know what I'm saying? And so,
yes, that was the Travolta revival run.
The LO drops a song Phenomenon. Powder comes, like you mentioned all that stuff. Trust me. And Deep Blue Sea comes out. All of.
Like mid to late 90s LL for me was when he was like really impressive, because I was just like loving this dude.
These are all life preservers. Like every time he's struggling to float, he has another life preserver.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, very true.
Yes,
that's something I noticed a lot listening to it. I definitely want to touch on that somewhere in this episode. But let's go back to the early years for LL.
See, I was gonna say that for me, just by default, I realize I'm kind of a day one LL fan just because I know I rep Massachusetts, but I was born in Queens, and the first 7 years of my life were in Queens,
wow.
St. Albans,
it's a Queens,
which is like LL's family. Yeah, yes. It's like for anyone who watches the show Big Mouth, when the coach is like, I live in deep Queens, like St. Albans is deep Queens. It's like you could walk to Long Island from St. Albans, but yeah, so it's like LL Cool J's from that area, the whole like South Jamaica, St. Albans, Hollis, Lorton area. So like LL Cool J was like the hometown hero. Like,
wow.
Yeah, just Brooklyn loves their Brooklyn folks, but like Queens people love Queens rappers too. Like even if like I remember my dad, he didn't really start liking hip hop until I got into scratching, but like he knew who Run DMC was, he knew who LL Cool J was, he knew who Marley Marl was. Like he just knew because they were all from Queens. It was wow. It's kind of like how it was. Yeah.
Yeah, us Brooklynites, we love Tyson. Mike Tyson could do no
exactly. Yeah.
You know,
yeah. Us in Philly, it's Skilly the Kid. He just can't do anything wrong.
Well, he's doing good.
Yeah, he's doing great.
Gilly's doing great.
Him and shouts to him. And Queens is the borough I wish I was from because all my favorite rappers are from Queens. So
it's so weirdly territorial too, because it's so. I mean, Brooklyn's the biggest of all the places, but Queens is big too. So it's just one of those things where like the Corona, Long Island City people don't really know the Jamaica, St. Albans people because it's so kind of spread out.
A lot of spread out.
Because the trains only go so far in Queens.
Yeah,
and then you're stuck.
One point in Queens and you're out.
You got to use the bus, or if you're lucky enough, you live off the Long Island Railroad.
No, y'all still have a dollar van system out there.
We definitely have the dollar van. We definitely have the dollar van still.
It's different. That's the only way I used to get around there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're day one. So Alaska, then what? Okay. Well, I want to flip it for a second. So this is a hip hop podcast, clearly, and we're going to talk about him from a hip hop perspective. The multimedia crossover, right? Where he early on, we said like he's in Crush Groove, Wildcats, right? I remember seeing him in the Hard Way. He was in Wildcats. Yes.
Oh, I don't remember. Damn, I don't even remember that.
But I remember seeing him in the Hard Way with Michael J. Fox and fucking James Woods.
Yeah.
Like being blown away, seeing him in like this real Hollywood movie that wasn't like some hip hop shit.
Yeah.
Where he played like a cop. He was like a cool young undercover cop.
Yeah. He got himself on sets pretty early in his game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he kind of jumped the line with that. It's quick.
Yeah. But the thing is, so then that's where I'm bringing up, and I'm bringing up the whole episode is these life preservers. So he's on. He's on. I think he probably. I would bet money he was on New York Undercover. So you're seeing him
right
outside of this. He didn't appear.
Wow. I don't remember.
Shockingly.
I'm thinking
he was
of
on
all
the Adventures of Pete and Pete. He was Pete's teacher.
He was definitely on the. Yeah, he did the morning announcements on that.
Because LL was a flag artist. So what I'm saying is he did the live rounds. He did that Unplugged. He would be on Leno and all that stuff. That's why I just
my God.
So again, what I'm saying is the life preservers of his career brings in a certain consistency of relevancy. So there's never really a fall off until maybe like music, like Accidental Races. Like that's to me is like the biggest misstep. But other than that, these are little things like, all right, so say he had to keep reviving his career after things like Walk Like a Panther don't really work. So then you'll probably see him in a movie or two, or he's on a soundtrack. But
he was on the craziest shit.
Walk Like a Panther still sold well. Like it still was on paper, it was a successful album. It
still sold well.
About that.
Right.
And it came out in 89.
Yeah.
Right. But
by
he needed
90,
spiritual
he had
rebirth.
Mama Said Knock You Out.
Right. He needed that.
And
he needed
his
a
appearance
rebirth.
on Rampage, which is just like an all-time great guest verse.
I love that verse.
Yeah. And he was kind of like to some degree getting at them in a playful way. Like PMD talked about on the Combat Jack episode, and it's like he was just like, that's L. Like he didn't want to be in the video. Like that's what's also weird. It's like from what I understand,
we have to roll back.
He's in the video, but he doesn't want to show his face. Like that's him. But he's like behind the curtain and everything. But that's really
so
like
weird.
Yeah, it was like a weird reason.
Don't we have to go back to Mo D then?
Yeah, well, I was gonna say it's interesting because hip hop is so there's such a lineage of just like Busy Bee, Kumo D, LL Cool J. It is you can kind of trace it really.
The big line, exactly.
Yeah.
So here's the thing I noticed.
Everybody who won those battles, the career of the winner versus the loser is always very interesting to watch after each one of those matches. Then you get him into the cannabis. That's why the cannabis thing is so interesting for folk. They don't know subconsciously. There's a history to it, like we say. The career of Busy and Kumo after they battle. And that was a pretty extensive battle, yes.
The other thing about Kumo D, too, is what people because it happened around the same time, very close to each other. Like, LL won the battle, but just before, people weren't feeling Kumo D because he kind of, like, crossed the line at the Grammys. Remember the year where all the rappers, which was led by Will Smith at that time?
And they boycotted him.
And I think he was like, fuck that, I'm going. I don't care. And then, like, the streets / like real hip hop artists kind of looked at Kumo D. They were just like,
know what it was?
Oh, you kind of like you're against us.
But there was something to people veering from Kumo D. I remember and then picking sides.
LL Cool J coming back. That was like the nail in the coffin for him.
Did they have like 3 rounds? They had like 3 rounds, right? It was like two songs apiece.
I think so.
Remember. I think so. Yeah,
it was 2 songs.
Okay. So
but anyway,
what I was about to get at. Well, here's what I was going to get at. Ready?
Yeah.
He kind of, because his blending of media, right? So I said he was in The Hard Way with Michael J. Fox, right? In '92, he's in Toys.
Yep, hell yeah.
Which is one of the weirdest movies of all time.
Crazy role of his.
A super weird movie.
He was the guy's son.
Yeah,
but
he was like, and he was the
that
combat type dude.
And he would pop up in scenes.
Yep.
And the thing about that is, to be honest, look at Method Man's first 8 roles.
Copland.
He let himself be stereotyped.
Yes.
Let himself be stereotyped a whole bunch.
Right.
Oz. He's on Oz. He eventually pops up on The Wire.
All that shit,
he allows himself to be stereotyped.
Right.
LL was like, nah, give me some crazy roles so that doesn't even occur. Because he doesn't even do his hood role until way later in Into Deep.
Like Into Deep, right? When he's God.
He's doing the cook on Deepest Blue. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm just saying this is deliberate. The man is not stupid. So he was
right.
doing
So
things.
This is what I was getting at, right? This is what
he was also in Halloween H2O. Just saying.
He was.
Everything comes back to Michael Myers.
Yes, as a security guard. What I was saying is like he did it in a very different way, but he's kind of he provided a form for Jay-Z to follow eventually.
Well, a lot of them follow. Even Master P follows him.
Because there was just never more than 1 year when LL wasn't in your face.
Right.
From 89 to 2008. 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say 2002 because I feel like after Headsprung, which I do like that, but after the 2002
that was
era,
like the
you know what though?
But
check this. 2003, he was in SWAT.
Oh, that's true.
That was kind of like a bad. But I'm just saying,
but Marcus, it all blends.
He used both, right? That's what I mean, right? Whereas like Jay was like the album, the remix, someone else's song, the R&B feature, the collabo album, Beyonce, like. Jay hit, and then he was like, "Okay, now I buy the clubs. Then I have the Rockefeller label. Then I have the club."
Jay was trying to be honestly like the aloof, weird cameo. Is that him? But he never really fully. That's what I think. He wanted to be like Scorsese in a movie or Spike Lee in movies. Like I don't think Jay ever.
Jay's never been in a movie. Yeah,
like look how he is in Streets is White and their stuff. Like how he wants to be. He wants to be this weird kind of character that's here and there. I think if he was going to be in movies, me personally, for Jay-Z, he wouldn't have had roles. He would have been like, is that Scorsese? Look at him. I think that's what he wanted to do. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there for y'all. I don't think he wanted to be like an actor.
No.
Per se.
It's funny you say that too, because Jay and LL, of course, have their history.
Yes.
Which probably behind this is probably going on like to this very moment. Because I mean, again, rest in peace, Combat Jack. But like a few years ago when LL was on Combat Jack, he still threw shots at Jay-Z on that episode, and that was like what 2014.
Like I don't know this story. What is there? I didn't know they had issues.
So early. This was like before the Reasonable Doubt era, when Rockefeller was just starting to bubble. Sauce Money and Jay-Z were at a club, and LL was there, and they started to cipher. And then I guess especially back then, cipher slowly morphed into battles, like more aggressive.
It's like generally agreed upon. That's how the Jay-Z DMX thing was. They were just rapping back and forth, and eventually some of the verses started being like adversarial. And
then it eventually got contentious. But this was like, I mean, internet, I guess the internet existed, but it's not the internet we know. This was like 27 years ago. Mm-hmm. So it was a lot of word of mouth stuff that like LL ran out of lyrics, or like he wanted to stop battling because Jay was winning. And that kind of actually helped some of the like mystique around Jay-Z. Mm-hmm. And then, like years later, when Jay-Z took over Def Jam, LL was still on Def Jam.
On the lip, yep.
And LL felt that Jay-Z was kind of like pushing him to the side. And he's like, but I'm LL Cool J. I built
It's funny because everybody felt that about Jay.
Everyone did.
Everybody felt
Joe Budden, Ghostface.
Underlying moments.
Unless Jay signed you, like when he signed like Jeezy and like Rihanna and all them, and kind of like, everyone felt like, oh, he's just getting back at me because I was hot in 94 and he wasn't shit.
It's kind of funny.
Redman felt like that.
And then when Combat Jack asked LL about the beef, LL started doing this like maniacal laugh for like 2 minutes straight, and you can like could hear like Premium Pete and Combat Jack like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what is this? He's just like, you guys think I care about Jay-Z? Like he just starts laughing. It's like a forced laugh. And he just keeps doing it, and then they're just like, "Are you all right?" He's like, "I'm no one's thinking about Jay-Z." Like you, if you.
It's funny because that obviously bothered, but if you look at it, okay, Jay-Z has this great run, but I mean, LL's in the whole Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? He's the Hall of Fame rep in terms of.
But even by the time, even by the mid '90s, when this kind of beef between them started, LL was like already an icon.
Yeah. But no, I'm just saying, like as far as like LL's accolades, he's the one that has the Hall of Fame, right? Nobody else has one, right? Not even Run DMC.
I think Run DMC does.
Yeah. Okay, so it would be, but just that handful of this is Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? Or yeah.
Yes.
So-
how about this? Why don't we take our first break real quick?
Real quick, let me just touch
Oh,
on
yeah,
one
hit
thing
'em.
because it relates to this. So in my notes, I listened to all the LL shit. I had down that he's the prototype for the rap superstar.
Great
Probably,
definition. Yeah, like paint by numbers. If there was like, here's how you be a rap star. Wear this hat, but like it really fits that way because.
But for every era too, like he just really like
he kept
nailed
changing.
it.
Yeah.
Yes.
He definitely was the Alaska champion of the reinvention, right?
Yeah,
like,
champion of reinvention.
Yeah.
He created the formula: street song, girl song, club song.
Oh, big boom! I mean, don't even get me started with Around the Way Girl into Pink Cookies into oh man, it just you're right. And yeah, I totally agree with you that he started almost developed the checklist, right?
Yeah.
The checklist, the rap checklist. We need this song, that song, this song, that song for it to be complete. He always had a single, right? Whether that was the club song or not, that wasn't always simultaneous. He had the single, chick songs, plural. He was big on that. Without being like, I felt like LL did chick songs, but he wasn't like Jagged Edge or something. You know what I'm saying? He didn't go that far with it.
I think he started to get close, like around
later,
from the
okay, later.
When he had like
the first ones
Neo
were
and
clever.
Jennifer Lopez on tracks.
Yeah.
Let's Swing a F, Around the Way Girl.
Oh,
like,
that's
early stuff. Yeah.
Pink Girl. He was very clever.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. Yeah. But yeah, later on, he definitely was like,
Well, here's a comparison I wanted to make. He's hip hop Brad Pitt, where
I mean
Brad
Denzel.
Pitt. No. Brad Pitt. Peep it. Ready?
Yeah.
Because Brad Pitt is always shoehorned in as he's the comparison people always say for like an attractive man. Well, he's Brad Pitt. No, Brad Pitt. Like Brad Pitt always a go-to comparison for like a chiseled, beautiful man, right?
Sure.
But Brad Pitt at his core, Burt Reynolds. But at his core, Brad Pitt's a weird fucking guy.
Yeah.
As a guy,
he's a weird fucking guy, dude. Like he's a weird dude. He did 12 Monkeys. He produces like some weird. He doesn't just do.
And the
like,
funny thing is, Johnny Depp cut his hair
shit.
like Brad Pitt. Wouldn't he be a little Brad Pitt?
I don't know. Like Johnny Depp, like once he's like a edgelord, like boomer dude. Whereas Brad Pitt's like, I can be Billy Bean, but I can also be in Burn After Reading.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but Brad Pitt. So Brad Pitt's famous as fuck since '91, right?
Sure. Legends of the Fall.
But Brad Pitt's best roles are all.
No, it's Thelma and Louise. Sorry.
Yes. Yeah. But the best Brad Pitt movies, he's the number 2 guy. He's never the number 1 guy. His best roles are Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, number 2 guy. Ocean's 11 movies. Franchise, number 2 guy.
Excuse me, World
Burn
War
After
Z,
Reading, number 2 guy. True, but that's not like it's not. He's not great in the movie. The movie.
I feel like World War Z is more just like it's a zombie. I mean, sure, Brad Pitt's
right. It's an awesome movie. It's a fucking awesome movie. Yeah, but like when he's at his best, it's when
like 12 Monkeys. 12 Monkeys is
12 Monkeys.
7.
He's playing off Morgan Freeman in 7. Fight Club. He's playing off Ed Norton. You know what I mean? He's not the main guy, but when you put him in that spot, he's the shit.
Fight Club, I think he's the main guy, but I feel
True Romance as well, right? He was in True Romance
for like
but like and
he's weird.
He's the stoner guy sitting on the couch.
White Boy White Boy Day, whatever his name is, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that LL is very, like you said, the prototypical rap star, chiseled abs, light skinned, licks his lips, girl songs, and all that. But no one's ever like, oh, LL's the greatest rapper ever. So when his name comes up, you're like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, LL. Like Brad Pitt. No one's ever like Brad Pitt is the greatest actor. No one's ever.
We can hit the break.
He was.
Hit the break on this point. We get the break on this point. You could say no one says that, but it's clear, and you could look at Demi for history that he is the first GOAT declared. Album title. That's where the acronym comes from.
Bimmy can say whatever the fuck he wants. He can call it anything.
But if you come up with the term, then he is the GOAT. No, if the term don't exist before you label it on a person, then what do you mean?
That is true. I mean, I didn't know
he's the original GOAT.
Whether
you think
he could say valid. It, I mean,
yeah, sure. I do feel like that there was an era. I think, unlike so many people, I do want to say now he's not. But from 85 through 94, LL was the guy that everyone strived to be. I just think it faded. He just didn't hold on to that. That there was like an almost decade-long period where, like, if you go back in so many interviews, like there's a random ass interview it was like a press junket for Saphir back when when the first album's coming out. And he just kept saying, he was like, I wanted to be LL Cool J. It was like this in Tupac interviews, like I wanted to be LL Cool J. Like, everyone did say that. I just think once post, I don't know, Mr. Smith, then like
it stopped being cool to say that.
It stopped being cool to say that. But prior to that, he kind of was the shit. He was kind of the stand. Like to this day, Planet Asia, anytime I an interview with him, he's always like, I wanted to be LL Cool J. I mean, I get it. Saphir, Planet Asia,
Slug used to
these aren't necessary. Yeah, like, so again, I think of a certain era, but I just think he didn't hold on to it like other, like the reason, like you can say what you want about Jay-Z, and I have plenty to say, but it's like he's always had songs that like people like. The average person isn't ashamed to say, yeah, I'm listening to that new Jay-Z album. Whereas like, I don't know if I would tell people like in 2021, I'm listening to the new LL album. I don't know.
No.
So,
I mean, I think personally, I never thought he was the greatest of all time. Like, because he was also around the time where Rakim was there. And Rakim was, you know.
That's a good point also. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, I would always go Rakim.
There.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
But at the same time, nobody wanted to battle LL Cool J.
No, he would get the last word, and his records were selling in comparison to KRS-One records. He was outselling him like a bullet. I'm just saying, y'all, like,
right.
You know what I'll say? Let's hit this break. Marcus said it. He was the standard. We can say it.
Yes,
we could say that,
or at the very least, one of the standards.
Yes, one of the pillars of standards. Yes, in terms of like the MC, the MC form. Yeah. At that point. All right.
So speaking of standards, let's talk about Manscaped, the new standard for men's crotchal maintenance. You got to get your Manscaped on. Crotchery. Your crotch, John Crottery. What was that dude named? John Crotty?
John Crotty.
His name should have been Crotch.
Walking.
Check it out. Listen, the Manscaped product assortment, we talked about on the show. I spilled some of it on my son's toothbrush. It's fine. He didn't care. It's all good. You got the sprays. You got the motherfucking ointments. You can take the clip off if you don't want to put it on your joint. Shave your head with it like I do. I've been using it on my head since COVID. You know what I mean? It's good to go. Dip it in some rubbing alcohol. You're straight. So there's a lot of uses for the Manscaped product. And if you go to the website, you put in that COC20, bang, 20% off. Call out culture. Again, gold standard right there. Manscaped's crotchal design. Get it. All right. We'll be back. Crotchal designs. It's all facts.
Yo, peace, people. It's Prem Rock. Just wanted to hop on and tell you about my new album, Load Bearing Crow's Feet. Out now, everywhere on Backwoods Studios. Shouts to the Wrecking Crew. Shouts to Call Out Culture. Shouts to Willie Green. Shouts to Billy Woods at Backwoods Studios. Shouts to Shrapnel. Shouts to Brain Orchestra, Denmark Vesey, Messiah Music, Small Professor, Fresh Kills, Willie Green, myself, everyone that handled the beats, everyone that delivered the rhymes, AJ Suede, Henry Canyons, Castro Zilla, Fielded and Elusive, and Marcus Pinn on the cuts, Dr. Quandary on the art. Pick it up wherever you pick up music. Thank you. Peace. The shortest story ever fraught with blues, and no less true.
Yeah. Double down, boy. New album, Vegas Vic, from yours truly, Zilla Rock. My first solo album since 96 Mentality. Out on Chong Wizard Records. Right now, available around the world. You can cop the digital on iTunes if you want. You can buy it for a G on Bandcamp if you're a real boss like that. However you want to get it, we got tapes, very limited, CDs also. Beautiful vinyl, all the artwork designed by PQ. Got everybody from Call Out Culture, Wrecking Crew in the mix. Album executive produced by Disco Vietnam. This joint is fly, energetic, fun. Roulette tables popping. Free drinks all night with the cherry in there. Whatever you want to get, we're doubling down. We're going to get in the car. We're riding out to America's Playground. Vegas Vic, Zilla Rock, a new album. Out now.
We're back. Hopefully you placed your order for Manscaped products so you can have a clean satchel. And a clean walking stick.
Walking stick.
And it'll smell like Brute from Fabergé in your junk.
Brute from Fabergé.
You know what I mean?
Sandalwood and relaxed leather.
That's
how I'm going with it.
You know what I'm saying? You're gonna smell like a yogi.
You know what I learned one time in passing? This is before the Manscaped products entered the facilities. Women were not fans of when us guys would spray the cologne down the pants. Women weren't big fans of that whole era.
Yeah.
We put the Hugo Boss in the pants.
Yep.
For the date, weren't a fan.
Yep.
So again, Manscaped's out here repping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Women don't want to smell Dracor Noir in the crotch.
Keep the Issey Miyake off of the.
That's what I have upstairs. That's what I wear when I go on dates. Issey Miyake. Oh shit! All right, so what do you got, my friend? So
speaking of Issey Miyake and dates, can we talk about LL's mastery of the like love song?
Oh, I mean, he did the first one.
Yeah, right? I mean, I don't know if he did the first one, but he did the most impactful first one.
I Need Love, yeah.
Yeah, I Need Love was like game changer.
You know what's genius about I Need Love is that the first single was I'm Bad, and then it's I Need Love.
Yeah.
But it like turned him into like Teen Beat magazine superstar.
Yeah.
True. It peaked number 14 on the charts.
Okay.
And I'm Bad peaked at 84. So yeah, he leveled up, dog.
Wow. Oh, I mean, that was like one of those first big hip hop songs.
Right.
I think like, I don't, I mean, that was like what, 86, 87?
88, 87. You're right. Yeah. 87.
So, shit wasn't on the charts like that.
No.
Like, if it was like maybe like Freedom Williams rapping on CNC Music Factory jumps. But
Ice-T.
Yeah, but
or not even. Ice-T's famous whole thing was like he had all these consecutive gold albums without much radio play.
Yeah,
right.
Like 6 in the Morning and maybe New Jack Hustler were like the main.
That's my favorite.
Other than that,
God, I love New Jack Hustler.
Other than that, he was rarely. I mean, music videos helped him, but still.
Yes.
Yeah. And there was beef between LL and Ice-T.
I was just getting ready. I was just getting ready to say.
What was their beef though, real quick? What was their? I don't know that shit. I know of it, but I don't know how. Like
I want to say it was a journalism thing. I thought it had to do with magazine, like stuff that was printed in magazines.
Sure.
And they were almost pit against each other.
Makes sense.
To some degree. Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay. So the love songs then, real quick. I think. Okay, so I remember he's talked about I Need Love, right? People clowning him, his boy saying it sounds like a Christmas song. It took a lot of fucking guts to make that record in 1987, right?
Yeah.
So in 87, this is still like Run DMC, right? And like Get Early, Rakim. So there's no one really doing that type of shit, right? Fat Boys. So when he does I Need Love, and then it charts, it peaks at number 14 Billboard, like overall Billboard. At number 1 on the rap wasn't even out yet. It was just called the dance charts.
Right.
So he's the number 1 dance song, even though it's not a dance song. But I feel like once he did that, and after the first single being I'm Bad, and then, fucking Radio before that, which is like the definition of the Rick Rubin sound. I feel like we said before, he created the form of like, oh, you can do that. You know what I mean? While you're wearing a Dookie chain and a Kango and you're breaking or whatever, you can actually do this type of shit. And it's going to be bigger than any of your songs is about, I'm the baddest, I'm the meanest. Because the next single off Bigger and Deffer is Go Cut Creator Go. That shit didn't even chart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like he had 3 singles. One was 84, one was 14, and one didn't chart.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if you just follow the numbers and like you said, the prototypical major label rapper, the quintessential rapper, then you're going to be like, oh shit, yeah, I Need Love. You said you're on Tiger Beat and all that. Like now we have to lean in that direction. You know what I mean?
So I don't know, and I don't know if this song charted at all, but he had a song on radio called I Want You, which is almost like a bit of a prototype for I Need Love, where it's like he's like, I mean, especially in like the early days of rap when it was still a very new format, he was like super vulnerable for like a kid that age, like a 16-year-old kid. It was like basically like his sister's best friend, like he had a huge crush on her. Right. And it was just talking about like how much it hurt him, like seeing her, come to the house and he just is like shy and he can't talk to her. Seeing her go out with like other dudes and shit like that. So it almost was like,
oh, true.
Wow. He was flushing that idea out there.
Mm-hmm. Damn. Yeah.
I think what also was cool about his love songs is that you said if someone, it might have been Castro or you, Marcus, his love songs then became specialized to hit the mood and the times. And so you can keep cranking them out. Like I think you said before, Marcus, about like once he hit a certain year, you stop checking for him. Because to me, he just stopped. He stopped aligning the love song with the thing of the moment. You know what I mean? Like he was so good at that.
Yeah.
And then I think he either tapped out or, it's kind of like how Kanye now, like Kanye has no hits.
No. Sure.
You know what I mean? None. There are no fucking songs he makes that are ringing off anywhere. Sure. He is the hit, like his celebrity and controversy. But like when I play, like radio plays Gold Digger still. You know what I mean? Like they're not playing like that little pump song. You're such a dirty bitch. I love it. Like
yeah.
That came and went. He doesn't make hits anymore. He just stays relevant through hijinks. With LL, I feel like that run he had, which was so impeccable. Yeah, like the last really one was like that Jennifer Lopez song, Control Myself.
I was gonna say,
was that even a hit though?
That's 06, and that peaked at number 4.
Which is really surprising to me.
Huge.
Exactly. Alaska's reaction exactly. I was looking up the charts I was like, damn, even deep into like he was still doing pretty good. I was like, wow, because that was all during from when Goat. Yeah, from when Goat came out, till The Definition. I was in college for those years, and I just remember by that point, being on a college campus, and I went to historically black college too. So like hip hop was like a little more heightened on campus, and LL just rarely ever, or if he did, it was just like that's when people started to clown him a little bit, not completely, but there was a lot of cynicism towards him around 2000, 2001. Although again, Headsprung. Because I remember I was DJing a lot in college. Headsprung always did
Timbaland.
It did his job. But that's a thing too. Outside of the because Timbaland, that was
album
2002.
That
was like
Timbaland album. Woo.
He was one of the high producers at the time. But I think too much he played. It's like, all right, I got to get a Neptune's beat, and it sounded like throwaway Neptune's beat. Or then he was like, I got to get with Poke and Tone, and that sounded like. Those Poke and Tone beats sounded like them imitating themselves. Like it just he just
that was a bad era of Trackmasters later on.
It was. But that was also like that was just the sound. The early aughts.
Yes.
Like the Nelly, Ja Rule, like that was just the sound.
True.
I could just see it. It's just like do-rags and like big baggy clothes and just all the football jerseys. Like that was just the era.
So
do you think? Oh, go ahead, Lance.
Sorry, I mean, but do you think like his ear for production is really weird to me? Like, I mean, early production, like he has it, but by the time you get to 14 shots to the dome, it's almost like he's like, let me get whatever the version of like royalty-free music is that you would put in podcasts of that particular
for like
era.
songs
like
in the background of YouTube tutorials.
Is like bad things. Onyx production.
Well, that's well, that was that post back to fuck up era. 14 shots. Yeah. 14 shots to the dome was. I always forget for some reason. I have to check myself sometimes.
Marley did most of the beats.
On 14 shots to the dome.
He did the bulk of the beats.
No, I feel like, but it's
no, he did not on 14 shots to the
dome. No, on paper. But I think it was one of those things where it was probably like K-Def and those. It was like the House of Hits era.
Yeah,
it was one of those things where like
House of Hits.
Yeah,
Wow.
Lords of the Queens. Lords of the Underground are on that 14 Shots to the Dome album. But I always forget. I always feel like 14 Shots to the Dome is earlier, and then I'm like, oh, it is 93. And he's trying to, and he's like, just the video. Yes. Even though I do like that album, but the video, which was shot right down the street from my grandmother's house, you'll see. By the way, you'll see a lot in his videos. He is always posing by this big rock that's painted red, black, and green. Like on the Hey Lover video where he's sitting on that rock, and then it's in the How I'm Coming. But yeah, that's like prime St. Albans, Queens. That's like a landmark, and it's like, yeah, the lyric for How I'm Coming. It's like he's trying too hard. I'll shoot you in your back and stab you. Wow, like he's trying too hard to like, yeah, I'm hard. And by that point, it's like, nah, you're mingling with Hollywood at this point. And not that he didn't have a rough upbringing. Like I'm not trying to. Oh, yeah. And he associated with real, But it's just he's trying to do the whole Onyx
Very Onyx.
That was like the turn of like the West Coast.
Redman too.
Is in his Redman, Onyx, Black.
Yes.
That was just that era when the East Coast is finally like, no, we're back on top, and he was trying to, I guess, kind of capitalize on that to some degree.
And he also had like, I think he had a weird fixation with native tongue.
What do you mean?
Okay, so if you go to like Mama Said Knock You Out, right?
Yeah.
He has Cheesy Rap Blues. He has Milky Cereal, right? He has Mr. Good Bar.
I see what you mean.
These are weird fucking songs, dude.
Yeah.
But if De La makes Mr. Good Bar, you're like, yeah, of course, sure.
That's funny.
If Cheesy Rap Blues is made by Black Sheep, you're like, yup, got it. You know what I mean? Like Milky Cereal.
Especially
if
those
like
titles.
Phife Dawg and Tip are doing back and forth, talk about cereal.
Oh, also St. Albans, also from St. Albans.
Right.
3/4
This is
Tribe
De
Called
La
Quest.
Soul on 14 Shots to the Dome.
Right, but that's 3 years later.
No, I know, but
yeah.
like
I'm just saying, like he has, like we said, I said before, like to me, he's Brad Pitt. Where when you look at Brad Pitt's decisions in his career, they're really fascinating because they are not just like safe, I'm the hot guy roles. You know what I mean? Like we talked about that. So I think with LL, it's like, yeah, on Mama Said Knock You Out, you know, you have the title cut, which is fucking massive. You have Around the Way Girl, massive. Boomin' System, top 3 song for me ever.
System. Jesus, yeah,
great song, right?
Such a summer song.
Yeah,
right. But then he has like Eat 'Em Up, Chill, L, you know, Mr. Good Bar. Like in the middle of this career renaissance album, he's doing pretty weird fucking stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
but he had been doing weird stuff before that. Like think about he had I'm the Type of Guy. Like how weird a song is that?
Yeah,
it sucks, but it's a weird song.
I mean, going back to Cali's a weird song.
I love that song.
Such a weird song.
It's a great song,
but
brilliant
weird song.
Yeah.
Went to the beach, gave her a peach. She said she liked the ocean. I love that part.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, but I feel like I always felt like Native Tongues was like in his brain because they like those songs are just the songs I talked about. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
they wouldn't feel out of place on a Jungle Brothers or Black Sheep or De La record.
I didn't think about that till you just said that, but that's very true. Yeah.
And then he has like a Legal Search on that album. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, which is the shit. He's kind. And when I said about Brad Pitt is like Brad Pitt is a really weird oddball comic actor trapped in the body of the most handsome man who ever lived. Right?
Yeah, because he did kill. I mean, Burn After as a movie, Burn After Reading is like, whatever. But when I saw that in the theater, you would have thought that I was seeing the greatest, funniest movie ever because he's just so funny.
Even like Snatch. Even when he's Mickey in Snatch.
Sure,
you know what I mean? Like he chooses to be completely unintelligible, which is hilarious.
And also not even because by Snatch was 2000, Brad Pitt was a superstar at that point, and he still chose to be like
that.
I'll be like the supporting role,
right?
To like Jason Statham, who was like a nobody at that point,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
And like Dennis Farina, or whatever.
Yeah.
So I just think like LL, he in his prime, he knew what can knock it out of the park, and then through the rest of the albums, he would make really weird, interesting choices.
Yeah.
I'll say this: he's willing to try just about fucking anything,
and we knew that up until recent years when he made that accidental racist song. I mean, terrible, but at least he tried something.
Right.
Yeah. So I was realizing something when I was listening to stuff today that LL, to survive so many eras, you have to be adaptable, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was listening to his stuff, and one of the things that he does that's interesting is he kind of taps in for like the singles or like, you know, the first few songs on the album to like whatever's going on.
Yes.
And then he turns it into an LL album. Right. So like 2 or 3 songs are like, this is like the hit and it's the modern song, but then it's going to become me going forward. Like, so like 14 Shots to the Dome is the one that I use as the example. Like he's doing like hardcore songs for like 2 or 3 songs.
Yeah. Like
street shit. And then it's like, it's suddenly just an LL Cool J album where it's like a dude that's kind of funny and weird, you know, talking about driving around, talking about kicking with girls, talking about making fun of people, kind of like the lovable bully almost.
Yeah.
You know, like it sort of switches from this hardcore thug, which nobody actually thought he was.
Right. Sure.
You know, but he just used it as like an entry point. Like, here, come check this out because this is what everybody wants to hear. and you know me, I'm like the most famous rapper. So like, hear me do this, but then just stay around and you'll fall in love with me, like with pink cookies in a plastic bag.
Yeah.
I love that song.
Yeah.
Well, I love that sample, the Blind Alley sample. I think it's kind of hard to go wrong on that loop.
Oh yeah.
I think he's number one, he's a singles artist, right? Can we say that?
Sure.
He's not. No, he doesn't have like any front to back like classic albums, maybe, except
I think it's classic albums. But I think I know what you're trying to. I always cringe when I have to use this as the goddamn standard, but it's like he doesn't have an Illmatic, I guess, or he doesn't have like a
Follow the Leader,
Yo Bum Rush the Show or anything. I get what you're saying, but it's like, but I feel like, but stuff like Radio, Mama Said Knock You Out. When I think of like, I think of those.
Knock You Out is close.
I think it is. Yeah. I think it's a close, but it's not an album people revere when they talk about. You see what I'm saying? Like he's famous. He's a celebrity, you know what I mean? Based on all these incredible traits we're talking about. I don't think people go to like, well, clearly Mama Said Knock You Out's like one of the greatest albums of the 90s.
That's true.
But
which is I think what he's saying is true. I think if there weren't just such a string of like bad albums in the later period of his career and so much TV and movies, he'd be in these like conversations more maybe. But I think just the bad discography towards the end and just him being a celebrity forgot, like right now, like at this point, I think Ice-T's another example of just like, what, you mean the actor? Like even people like you could be 30 years old now and still be like Ice-T, you mean the actor Ice-T? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I was thinking about that actually while listening to this stuff. And I wonder how much of it is just because like what you were saying, Mark, like he's omnipresent, right?
Correct.
So he's bigger than any single thing that he does.
Yeah.
Whereas like a lot of rappers, it's like their biggest album, their like classic album is the biggest thing they'll ever do.
Sure.
Yes.
Right.
Sure.
So even like with Nas, like when we think of Nas, we think of Illmatic.
Yeah.
Right.
Like we're not thinking about anything else with Nas. When we're thinking of LL Cool J, we're thinking of LL Cool J.
Sure.
Right.
We're not necessarily thinking about any particular piece of art that he's made.
Yeah.
I agree. I think here's the thing I think is interesting too about LL. He does the thing that Common does where he has the song where he's always like, yo, I could fucking rap. What? Mm-hmm. You forgot I could fucking rap?
Sure.
And then that song will be crazy and then he just never goes back to that song. Yeah. You know what I mean? Until like the next album cycle or the next. Because he's such a major label dude from day one. He thinks about albums like crowd pleasing, checking off of the trends, the collaborators that are, you know what I mean? Like he's never been like, yo, you know who I really believe in? I don't know. Fucking Buck Wild. I just believe in Buck Wild. I'm going to make an album with Buck Wild. I don't give a fuck what he sold. It's always like, I need hits. It's 1995, 96. Trackmasters are on fire. I need them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Early 2000s, Timbaland and Neptunes run the world. I need to work with them. You know what I mean? Like Ja Rule brought back Jennifer Lopez. I need to have her on my song.
And then Bink was another like popular name among producers. He started working with Bink, Bink. Also, I love him too, but not his LL stuff.
Nah, not the LL stuff.
I will say one thing. This doesn't go against your point, but it is interesting. Even LL's last album, which I saw, which came out, 2014 or 13 or whatever, he still has Marley Marl like do voice stuff. Yeah. Like not production, cool. But like he still keeps them like what's it called? He had, when Marley Marl was doing like a couple years ago, he's doing a rounded podcast and he was just saying like, yeah, I still go on vacation with LL. I was at his house a couple weeks after the guy, because there was because the guy that broke into his house and LL like beat his ass and like waited for the cut. Like there was that whole story. Do you remember that?
I remember that joint.
Yeah.
Yo, like in 2013 or 12 or 2013, a guy broke in. He didn't know it was LL Cool J's house. And then he set off the alarm. LL Cool J came down. The guy had a knife and everything. And they like fought, and then LL Cool J like overpowered him.
Of course,
and, like held on. Yeah, of course. And then he waited, and then the cops came and everything. And then like a week later, Marley Marl stayed with him at his house.
Wow.
And he was just telling the story. Yeah, no, it was all over the news. Like a criminal breaks into LL Cool J. Yeah, this was out in California. Yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying, it's kind of cool that like even though he doesn't have him do production, which I don't Last time Marley Marl did production was that Beat Generation thing when they were doing
Oh no, he did that the KRS-One album. Hip
that's
Hop
right.
Lives.
That's right.
Cringe.
Yeah. But it's kind of cool. He still has
fuck.
his roots to some degree, where he still has Marley show up, even if it's just to do like voice interludes. Like that's still kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah,
well, it's like kind of like Will and Jeff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What? Let me ask you this, Alaska. What rap wise, straight up rhyming, how do you view LL Cool J?
I think he's a great entertainer, and he has he makes jams.
Yeah, I like that.
So I don't know if I ever consider him like a great rapper, like in the way that I would consider like Prodigy a great rapper or Ghostface a great rapper.
Yeah, sure.
But he's also like a personality. Like there's like he does things that none of those guys can do. Like the way like he could just be funny and charming. Like even when he's talking like some crash shit, like he's still like Jingling Baby or Big Old Butt. Like you know what I mean? Like he's got that level of charm where it's like the dude that was like the football player that was kind of a dick but was also friends with everybody. You know what I mean? Like that dude in high school, like he would like make fun of you, but it would never be like in a mean way. It would be like he'd crack a joke at you and they'd be like, nah, I'm just fucking with you. Like, kind of
right.
He's like that dude to me, like the way I see him. But he could obviously rap really well. I don't even have him in my top 25. I don't think if I have a top 25.
Yeah, if we're talking about like just at rapping, yeah, I'm with you. As far as like legends icon, yeah, he's up there. But in terms of like the guys you name, no, he can't rap. But he has every once in a while, I guess like what Zilla was saying, every once in a while he has these verses or things where it's like, no, I can rap. Like even later, like his verse on 4-3-2-1, outside of him going at Cannabis, certain flows and certain pockets that he goes in on that song. It's like, oh, I never really heard him rap like that before. Like it's kind of cool, So he can when he wants to.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing that I really was kind of like shocked by, like how good of a rapper he actually is.
Yeah.
Going back into it, it's like
I just feel like again, post 2002, he was just phoning it in.
Yeah.
And it's now crazy to think that he still got a number one album after that. Like that, the definition, like that's crazy. Yeah.
So he does shit that other rappers don't do. Like he uses pregnant pauses better than anybody in the history of rap music.
Sean P would like a word.
He uses what?
Pregnant pauses.
What do you
like
mean?
where it's just like he'll like kick a line and like he'll just stop.
Oh yeah, no. Sean Price
Sean
has
P's
some. He's got some
lane.
I haven't listened to a lot of Sean Price. I'm not gonna lie.
Sean P is the king of that shit.
It's funny because as you describe like the lovable bully, it's like that's Sean Price. And I mean firsthand, I was in the studio with him one time because a buddy of mine was an engineer, and he was like, "Yo, I got Sean Price coming to the studio." This was during that period, just before before the 2005 album came out. And he was on that whole thing, Brokest Rapper, Monkey Bars. So before that, he had the mixtape Donkey Sean Jr.
Yeah,
he was one of the first guys to cash in on that. Like, oh, I could get like $750 to $1,000 for a verse. I'm just gonna do this, and he cashed in on that like crazy. Right. So a buddy of mine was doing this album, and they got some verses from Sean Price, and he was like, this guy I went to high school with who moved to New York also. He's like, come to the studio, I got you do some scratches. And then the whole time I was there, this is back when I had sideburns. I was like 100 pounds heavier, and he was just cracking on me the whole time. And didn't even know, like especially with men, when you don't know someone and you meet them you don't joke. But it was also, it's like a Sean. I mean, what am I gonna do? Like, if you've been in his presence, he's also a big. Even back then, when I was close to 400 pounds, he's still a big guy. Even to me at that time, he's still a big like guy, and I'm just like, what am I gonna do about it? But then like as he left the studio, he gave me like kind of like a dap and a hug, like kind of, and like this expression, like, sorry, I was fucking with you for the last few hours. Like, I was like, no problem, don't worry about it. Like, and I kind of like, and he meant it. So yeah, it's funny. LL definitely gives that vibe, because the thing about his whole bullying thing that we haven't touched on, it's like beefs with him. You'll think it's squash, and then like years later, something will come up and it's like, yo, I thought this was over. Like he's very petty. Again, like the whole Combat Jack interview. when Jay-Z came up, he was being so like just throwing all these shots, and then like his verse on 4 3 2 1, it's like,
yes,
when a beef is dead, a beef should be dead. But he's like Crush Mo D Hammer and Ice T's. It's like, damn, that was so long ago. You're still on that, or
right.
He had that song. He dissed Cannabis like a couple of years or two after all that stuff happened too. He dissed Wyclef again. It's all.
He
like,
had the
well, even the De La diss was like, they dissed him in like 88.
Yeah.
You know, it's like he did this in 2000 or 93. It was like it's 5 years later.
Sure. And that to me, I always loved it, because no matter how Hollywood he got, he still kind of kept it hip hop, where it was very competitive. And it's like, oh, I'll battle you on wax or in an interview. Like, I'll just be like with Jamie Foxx. Any Given Sunday, like that thing was over, and then he was on like Rap City, The Basement, like a while after, and then he kicked the freestyle dissing Jamie Foxx like well after the movie was out, well after it was over. It's very funny.
Yeah, I think my the way I looked at LL rhyming wise, like I think you're right, Ules. Like, to me, he was a dude that just made jams, and so I never looked at him as like an inspiration or someone that inspired me. He was Barry. Shouts to Disco Vietnam. Barry brought up a fascinating point, which definitely rings true for people of my age range for sure. He brought up something very salient. He said when Prodigy showed up on I Shot Your remix, he completely made LL and everyone before him like primitive rap. Because when Prodigy shows up, Prodigy, I'll forever SHINE, my shit attract millions like the moon attract the sea.
Yeah.
And he's like 21 saying that type of shit next to LL, who's, peacocking. Like you said, what the fuck across what's he say? Ice Keys curl and all that.
Yeah.
I make it hot for your bitches. Females can get it too. I don't give a fuck, boo. You know what I mean? But like Prodigy, how he is on that song, it's like he sounds next level.
And also like he's not trying, because you have to understand too, like the aggression, like Fat Joe is just so loud and angry.
Yes.
Now, Keith Murray,
Keith
Murray's Keith Murray. He's very, and like eloquent, like that. Well, that was always Prodigy's style. Like he wasn't even trying,
right?
And he still kind of outshined everyone. I mean, I thought Foxy killed it, but still,
Foxy was great. I've been like really going back into Foxy a lot lately. Foxy,
same, because I saw this clip someone posted of her back at Lyricist Lounge when she was like 15.
Isis. Her name was like Isis.
Yeah, and it's like, wow, she was just about. It wasn't like the sex appeal thing with her. She was like dressed head to toe, like had the hoop earrings, like the Nefertiti hair, like all, like she was just about rhyming. And then I was like, and then it got me going back to listening to her stuff, and it's like, yeah, she had these like shining moments of just being a dope rapper.
She's dope, but like on that same song, like when Keith Murray's talking about, I hear making, let my balls hang like I'm on a toilet taking a shit.
Yeah, that's a great like, Keith Murray line.
That's like being a rascal, right? That's Keith Murray. But when Prodigy's like Illuminati, want my mind, soul, and my body, secret society, try to keep the eye on me. When probably one of the first times anybody ever said Illuminati in rap ever, right? On a song where it's like LL and always like LL he's already now he's facing the future of the art form on the same song, and is like quietly, unknowingly being pushed to the background. The minute Prodigy shows up on that song, and for a little bit Foxy too. So it's like in the middle of all that though, LL is, I mean, like I said before, like lounging. That I used to just play the fuck out of that tape, and then like Hey Lover and all that shit. Like he just had so many songs, even like the what was that song he had on, like the Beavis and Butthead soundtrack?
Oh, I don't remember that one.
Ain't nobody does it better.
Oh, was that? I know that song. Oh, was that for Beavis and Butthead?
Yeah, he did it on the Beavis and Butthead. Then he even had like Fatty Girl. Remember that?
Yeah,
Fatty Girl. That was a huge song.
What was I remember being so annoyed. This was still during that era where like the remix would be like the single, but then it wouldn't be on the album.
Right.
Like the song he did with Total, the remix.
Yes, Loungin' is not on the album version.
No, and I remember being so annoyed. It was like that.
The album version's horrible.
Yeah, it really is. Like it's like the another Queens group, All City had this the version of the song called "Move on You."
Oh,
that was so dope.
All City.
But then the album version was
no good.
Yeah, I have a song. I have a story. I'll tell it off record. I don't know if I should, but I'll let you guys know. It's all city related song, but
okay.
Yeah. Remind me.
Yeah, like it's funny though, but like I was even listening to like a lot of like old AZ and Nas when I did the AZ interview, and like how even they were going at it back then.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Fox on that song, like, you know, Italiano got the Luciano. I gets down fucking with Brown Fox. Extra keys to the drop. Boom, jingling, baby. I got crazy Dominicans who pay me to lay low. I play slow. Roll with the firm, mafioso, crime kingpin. Like he can't stay up with this shit.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
but that's not his game.
Yeah.
His game is like Alaska saying, like
the weakest link on that track to me.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like that, but like what Barry pointed out was like that was the moment when he is old school forever.
Yeah,
like that generation of people.
That's true.
Just specifically Prodigy and Fox.
Yeah,
because Keith Murray had been in the game, Fat Joe had been in the game. They were still younger than him, but Prodigy and Foxy were about to take off and render him like, okay, I need to go a different route now. I need to lean more like because his next step is like we said, all those songs we just named was like the R&B hooks. Outside of 4 3 2 1, like remember the other single off that album, Father, when he remade fucking George Michael?
I feel so bad laughing at that song because it's a very vulnerable, true song.
It
but
is.
It's like,
it's
why would you sample? Like also the context to the George Michael father figure has nothing to do with the father you're talking about. It's just very awkward and weird. It's just very weird.
It's a bizarre song.
Yeah, and then you have like the gospel choir, and it's one of those things like I don't want to laugh at this, but it's like you're making it very difficult to. You're pouring your heart out, but it's like I don't want to laugh, but Jesus.
Well, I mean, there's always something weird about the jock doing poetry.
True.
Oh my god. True. That's so funny.
He is. He reminds me of like dude from American Pie and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That dude, Osgood. Oz. They called him Oz.
Yeah.
Or he's always like looking down at the ground, like I just wanted to ask her to the date. But then he goes out and like it's 9 tackles and shit.
So when I was listening to like I think that 2 rappers I think had a similar career up to a point, and almost even to like the way like they transitioned through shit. What do you think of like Heavy D and LL Cool J almost being like cousins career wise? Like LL had a bigger earlier career, but there's like sort of like they both did like a hardcore album at the same time. And then the next album they came back with was like sort of like a more like soulful record.
I definitely feel like if Heavy D were still alive, like that would be the verses. Now that I think about like LL Cool J and Heavy D would definitely be the verses.
Wow,
it'd be a good verses.
Really would.
Yeah, it would.
I love it. I played a lot of Heavy during early COVID. Yeah, and same thing. Like I just really loved hanging out with a person like in control of like I know how to make hits. I know how to have a good time. It's
but
cool.
There's also, but even rapping ability, I don't know if the up tempo, even borderline fast, if LL did it as well or as much. Now I think about like the 110 BPM, like that was Heavy D's pocket. And he would even and he would throw in the whole like Billy Diddly D, like he would do that. Like even if you think that's kind of corny, like that still takes talent. LL doesn't really.
Nah.
You know,
what you
like
gonna do? Tell me gonna do. Roses all red and bottles all blue.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like that's
But I even think like Blue Funk, like he was rapping better on Blue Funk than LL was rapping on 14 Shots to the Dome.
Now I have to like
I agree.
Go back
and
think.
The crazy thing about Hev is like doing the reggae styles and all that. He could do the girl shit. The only thing with him was like he just kind of hit a brick wall with the one that like was called Heavy. I remember he had like Big Pun on there and like 8 Ball and MJG. Just brick so hard.
Yeah.
And he had one song on there with Q-Tip called Listen, where like they're doing the fucking Slum Village Dilla flow that no one ever talks about. It's like
I don't even
Heavy D doing a Dilla
flow.
To it's called Listen, where he's like, hey, you listen, they're all doing the fucking T3 bot team. It's the flow that everyone who ever heard Slum Village tried at least once.
Wow.
But he was doing it because Q-Tip is in the studio with him. But like he's at least like always interesting to me, where I think LL is like make a jam or it's cringe. That's God damn,
the
high and the low. of LL.
Yeah, there isn't much middle. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Damn, I'm glad you said. Like, as I was finishing up his discography, like last night and today, it's like there's not much. Like, yeah, it's a cool song. It's either like, oh, this is great, or like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah,
seriously,
there really is no middle ground with him. Going back to Heavy D, I will say when he had posse cuts, he also might not have been the best, but he never. The way you just described LL getting kind of like roasted, time capsuled. Yes. In his I Shot You remix, like when you look at like Don't Curse, those are some of the most vicious rappers, and he didn't get like killed. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have the best verse on that song. He did not. He also didn't have the worst. I think we know who that is, but it's like he blended right in. P-Rock. No offense.
Yeah, no, like, P-Rock is bad on that one.
Grand Poobah and Cool G-Rap and Q-Tip and Kane, Big Daddy Kane, CL Smooth, like
So Heavy did something cool on that track because he doesn't have the lyrical chops to hang with those dudes, but he was just kind of the host.
Yeah, because he pops in and out. He starts and he comes back in the he kind of introduces each. He talks over the scratches before each day. Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. He just stays kind of relevant throughout the song. That's very smart. That's very smart.
Because he's not gonna burn him on the mic.
No,
not even fucking close.
Yeah, Kane and Cool G-Rap kind of were unofficially battling it out on that song to me. It's between those two guys, at least as far as flow goes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we take our break and then we'll wrap up with James Todd Smith.
Cool.
On Call Out Culture featuring Marcus Pinn, Curly Castro had to exit early. Our second Manscaped break.
Cool. Hey friends, it's me, your friendly neighborhood podcast host, Alaska. And I'm here to tell you about an exciting new project that I just released with my friend Jason Griff. You might know Jason Griff from his many appearances on the Call Out Culture podcast, as well as his groundbreaking work with the Griff Scorsese Midnight Express album. Also, his solo project, Fireside Chats. You need a sweater and a bearskin rug for that one, fellas. Anyway, we just dropped a new record called Human Zoo. And Human Zoo examines the cages that we put around society and the self-imposed cages we put around ourselves. It features exciting tracks like Reboot, featuring Fat Boy Sharif, and Animal Farm, featuring Love Ulysses. We also have additional vocals from the likes of Alex Ludovico. Not Ludovico, Ludovico with a C. See what I'm saying there, people? And Prem Rock. And then the All Hook All the Time track, featuring vocal stylings from Curly Castro, Zilla Rocca, Def C, Rob Sonic, Breezely Bruin, and Open Mike Eagle. If you like the rap music, folks, you're gonna want to get this record. It's a must-have for every true aficionado, and you could get it at insubordinaterecords.com. Alaska, out.
We are back. We're ready to take this home.
Yeah.
What do you guys have? You guys got some final thoughts on LL? Anything that, like, you feel we didn't discuss that you want to mention, or?
No, we kind of, we did early to late period. I guess it's the elephant. I guess we just have to bring up Accidental Racist, just like, if there's like the biggest. It also can't, I feel like though too, if he'd have done that song like 10, 15 years earlier, it would have been like terrible for him. But by 2013, it was just like, by 2013, he was on NCIS and was a legit movie star. So it was one of those things where it was like, it drew buzz for a second, but then people just kind of forgot about it. But when you really look at some of the things he said on that song, it just like, especially as a Black person, and I know there's always this pressure where it's like one Black person does not represent all, but he was speaking in that song. He was kind of rapping for all Black people. So it's just like, don't judge my gold change and I'll forget the iron ones. Or it's like, don't judge my do-rag and I'll forget that red. It's just like, what do you like? Yeah, as a Black person, you just put your hand in your like, oh my God, what are you doing? So, anyway.
in some ways, he's very lucky that did come out in 2013.
Yeah.
Like if they tried to like drop that in like summer 2020.
Oh my god.
I was gonna say like even now
Yeah.
it would have been a meme now.
Oh
yeah.
Imagine the new fans he'd get from that song.
The total wrong.
Oh my god. Yeah.
It's similar to like the Kyrie Irving thing.
Kyrie Irving
like,
fans, yeah.
Like or Dave Chappelle's like a lot of like Dave Chappelle's new fans where it's like I feel like these aren't always the people you want kind of rooting for you.
No.
Yeah.
I want to just talk about Backseat of My Jeep.
Please.
The song is so good because he's talking about fucking a hooker.
Yes.
He talks about like I want to read lyrics where he keeps saying like this girl is he tries to keep talking about how this girl is like a really sweet, clean-cut girl, but she likes to fuck in cars on back streets.
Yeah.
He keeps saying like you know, he always say something like, you know, you're a good girl who would never do things like this. I know he's like, I know you got class, but deep down you're real freakish. Like he keeps you're the type of girl that got class and style. Still in all, you need the backseat of my Jeep once in a while. That's a prostitute. You're checking out my car phone, scoping out my jewelry. Let's do this in a hurry. Prostitute. Yeah, like he then even says like where's the line where he says like I know a place where we can lounge and cool. Don't sleep. We're at backseat of my Jeep. So he does this often enough. Like he has his go-to spot to park the car.
Wasn't he going to the Bristol Hotel earlier in his career with like
maybe
prostitutes?
And then he says, I'm pulling over near your building. I light a candle on the dashboard. We're chilling. I knew a girl like you would love a scene like this. You got class, but deep down you're real freakish. What? She likes the candle on the dashboard, like behind her apartment.
About somebody lighting a candle on the dashboard of their car,
but he does it near her house. Like,
yeah, there would be.
It could be somebody else's like wife or girlfriend. That's why they gotta just like dip out the car.
Either way, the way he's presenting this, like that, just goes back to what you're saying. How he's just kind of weird. Like it's like these weird, unexplainable, like.
Okay.
Was that just like the last song he had to make? I'll just.
The song's amazing, song, you know and then the funny part was when Monica made it her first single. Just one of them days.
Yeah.
But he says, "Okay, I give it to you real raw in the back seat. Okay, that's how you want it, don't you? Yeah, you'll tell your girlfriends, won't you? Nah, don't lie. Take it in your eye. Come on, dude. That's a prostitute. That's a prostitute." You are having sex with a prostitute. He's unbelievable.
So, this kind of brings me to a song from Walking with the Panther, which is like a stalker anthem.
I'm sorry. Let me just say this one last part. I'm sorry, Alaska. He says, "Oh my god, damn, it's so good. The mad grip on my tip. You're still a nice girl, but my Jeep makes you flip. You go wild and stick your toes on the roof. You look so cute with your gold tooth." Come on, bro. That's a hooker. I'm sorry. Come on. I'm sorry, guys.
That was during this, like, I feel like, I mean, I guess this is more later period, but like MC Ren, KRS, well, you guys talked about that one Boogie Down Production song on the spot years ago. Like, there were always these songs where it's like, did you go back and listen to like the what's the name of that MC Ren song? It starts off his first EP about the girl who's like having sex with her dad and her brother, and then like they're watching by the window, but it's just like this story. Oh my god, what is the name? It's
MC Ren.
Oh, this is a bitch who makes straight A's. Oh, what is? Hold on. It's track one. It's behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes.
That is the crazy, and it's just.
I gotta hear this song today.
I'm not gonna say his flow is mellow, but it's just like it's just very matter of factly as he tells the song about how, like, again, he talks about that she's a good girl, she gets straight A's, and he followed her home. He followed her home and snuck in her window and then watched like her brother and father like run a train on like that's the premise of the song. It's very
Jesus
insane.
Christ.
Yeah, it's really messed up. And this is an album that went platinum. This was like it's the song that starts off the EP.
God.
First platinum EP, by the way. I think I believe.
Wow.
And this is MC Ren?
Yeah.
This is prior.
This is prior to this was
okay.
prior to his conversion to Islam.
Okay.
I'd say so.
Yeah. Right.
So this is nothing compared to that song, but his song "You're My Heart" off of Walking with the Panther.
Okay.
No, you said the stalking. He's definitely
so stalking on that.
Yeah,
like it's horror movie level stalking the way he goes down at the end and the way he's like, my heart refused to let you go. He's like, it's almost like he has her like duct taped to a chair. He's like rapping this at her. It's like, oh my God, Al.
Yeah, he does.
Oh my God.
What's going on? He's like, it's just like, I'll struggle and fight against all odds.
Yep. That's good.
Wow.
Yeah. It's awful.
Wow. This is I'm sorry. I'm reading these MC Ren behind the scenes.
Yeah,
lyrics.
man. This is that's something.
Talks about fucking her with a broomstick.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh,
that too.
Oh my God. This is
at her request though. Like in this it's nuts. That song is nuts.
And then yeah. Okay.
It's almost like the blueprint for like Necro.
Wow.
Kind of. I feel like Necro had to have like listened to this song, which is funny because speaking of LL, I discovered Necro because he remade.
Yep.
He had that song "I Need Drugs." Yeah.
Dealer, I hate you. When I'm alone in the room, I sit and stare at the wall in the back of my mind. I hear the cocaine call. That shit was amazing.
Yeah.
Necro should have just stayed being funny with that shit. That shit was the best.
The video was unbelievable too.
For Necro?
For I Need Drugs.
Yeah, it's like that was like the early days of when they were kind of exploiting their uncle, their real uncle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Uncle Howie.
That video is insane.
Jesus.
Oh,
well, somehow we've come full circle to Necro.
Yeah.
Welcome to Necro culture.
Necro culture. Oh, that's a new set of fans we're gonna get. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I don't endorse or not, but I'm just saying he's an interesting topic from like his collab albums to how he came up to his brother to everything.
Shouts to Ill Bill too.
Yeah. Shout out to Ill Bill.
The I Need Drugs video has 1.8 million views.
Wow.
I believe that. Yeah.
This is I kill myself while the dealers eat Japanese food. Oh, Necro. He could be doing something really funny. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. Shouts to Necro. He was in the Robert Pattinson movie.
Yeah.
He's in their other movie too. He was in there.
Drops the M-bomb. It's very, very bizarre.
No, well, not for Necro. It's not bizarre. That's like his thing. He does that. Yeah. But he's in Heaven. I think it's called Heaven Knows What. The movie they made before Good Time. He like knows the Safdie brothers. He's in a couple of their movies.
Oh my God! Did you ever hear the album he did with Cool G Rap a couple years ago?
Yeah, I got it just because of Cool G Rap. Yeah, it's not that
actually. Yeah, it was kind of shocking.
I also respect because I was like keeping up with the press about that album. He was because that was during the height of like people emailing verses, and he was just like, no, I want to be in the studio with Cool G Rap when we make this the whole time, and they did. He was like.
Wow.
I wanted him to be my friend before we even started recording. So I took him out on a lot of nights. I like took him to dinner. We hung out, went to strip clubs. I wanted to get to know him before we just kind of like phoned it in. It was like this whole it was like this personal journey for him to make that album.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Shouts to him, man.
Yeah.
He has an album called The Notorious Goriest.
Yeah.
So it's The Sexorcist. I like his album called Death Rap. That's fantastic.
So I'm looking at his wiki. This might actually have to be like Patreon content.
Okay. All right. Let's do
the Necro Patreon talk. He was sued by Andy DeFranco.
Wait, what?
He sampled her.
He sampled her. He sampled her song used to you for the song called The Asshole Anthem.
And imagine you're Ani DeFranco and you get like,
oh my God,
like, who is this guy? What's his name? He does what? Like, I can't even imagine like the world of Ani DeFranco and Necro like going like that.
He got pulled in a murder trial.
Yeah, I've just seen that now.
Yeah.
Oh,
Some
I didn't
dude
know
in
that.
Ontario killed a girl and saying he was listed as necro. He abducted her.
Oh, I did know that.
Oh my God.
That. Right.
The defense noted the similarities between the song "Garbage Bag" and letters that the killer had written. The girl that she wrote letters in a youth facility in 2007, 2008. The letters described the hypothetical torture and murder of a person. Yeah, and then the day she murdered somebody, she used a garbage bag. And oh my God, Necro issued a press statement saying, "I don't support anything that brings harm to children." He was unfairly blamed for the actions of some of his fans. Oh my God, the Andy DeFranco.
Yeah.
What a life. Oh, this is fantastic. Shouts to fucking Necro.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, my dog's hacking again. That's why I got it muted.
Yeah. I gotta plug my laptop in for 1 second. So I'm gonna be off camera for 1 second.
Cool. Well, I mean, I think we could probably wrap up.
Yeah. I just wanted to shout out Dr. Butcher and do all that stuff before.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. And then I'm pretty sure my son will be up soon. He usually, I guess, well, maybe not. I might get another hour before I have to get up and do that shift with him, which is cool because I can feed him while I watch the Wu-Tang show.
Nice. How are you almost caught up?
No, I'm caught up.
Oh, wait, there's a new episode today, right?
Yeah, it's Wednesday.
Oh shit! I always forget. I have class on Wednesday, so by the time I get settled in, I've already forgotten that it's Wednesday. I
wasn't super crazy about the last episode, but the previous 4 episodes were really good.
Yeah. So what do you guys talk about? Sorry, I was off.
I'm gonna watch.
I gotta watch
this
new one. Yeah, I gotta watch the new one. Castro said it was fucking hilarious. It was great.
Oh man.
I'm loving it now. I'm so all in.
Everything you guys said on that episode, exactly how, because I live text my friends, certain specific friends who I grew up with,
right?
And it's just like, why is everything Ghostface does such a dramatic, yo, I'm going to the store, or
son, what the fuck are you talking about, son?
All the and just yeah.
Now he's funny, when he wanted to get the sandwiches. He's like, yo, man, fucking wash that knife this time. Yo, man, put some soap in that water, man. Wash that shit. Told you last time I was here. Cut that sandwich 8 ways, man. Put the lettuce and the pickles and the tomatoes.
Yeah, he's like, and spread it out too. I don't like when the shit be falling out on one side. That is a very Ghostface thing. Yeah. A Ghostface direction.
It felt like for the first time ever, that dude actually listened to Ghostface skits.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, 20 hours had to play this fucking guy on camera. He's like, oh, maybe I should be funny and say ridiculous shit to somebody.
Yeah, but even cry every 30 seconds.
The Dave East thing too. It's to be so. I couldn't put it into words. So I listened to your episode. It's he's just very bland. And when you go back and look at Method Man footage from that era, he's so charismatic and just lights up the room when he's there. And Dave East is just oh yeah, you're here. That's kind of how.
Yeah,
how it is.
He's getting. They're all improving. It just took a while for them to get their footing. I think it's.
Yeah.
On a large enough sample size, they're all kind of, hitting above their weight now, which is great. Their batting average is all up. Even the dude playing deck is actually really good. The Jizza is fantastic.
Yeah.
Which is really fun.
The new guy who plays deck threw me off because he looks a little bit like the guy that plays Jizza kind of in the face. And I got kind of confused at first. I was like, wait, who are you? But yeah.
And then Dirty is just fucking incredible.
He's great.
That kid is unbelievable. TJ Adams, that's his name. Yeah, he's wonderful. All right, cool. So I think that wraps up the LL Cool J Lineage of Greatness.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It is.
Brought to you by using what was a shitty condom back? Chic condoms. And you're having sex in a car with a prostitute. LL Cool J music bumping by the Chic condom.
Nice.
Chic. Chic condoms. I haven't thought about that in a long time. So Marcus, break the people down. Where can they hear you?
Oh yeah, listen to again a podcast I co-host with my good friend Scott Thorough, Zebras in America. Check out PinlandEmpire.com. I also write for a bunch of other different outlets, but if you just go to PinlandEmpire.com, that's kind of the hub that'll take you to all the other outside stuff that I do. I also, just for this specific episode, I wanted to shout out legendary, although behind the scenes guy, Dr. Butcher, of the original X-Men. He was one of LL Cool J's first DJs, when they were really young, before LL blew up. And he's just kind of an important figure in background figure in Queens hip hop. He's connected to Joe Fatal. He's connected to Large Professor. he's when Large Professor name drops Dr. Butcher in his song Hanging Out, he's talking about Dr. Butcher. He was like a famous studio session scratcher before that was even a thing. He's just one of those guys that like doesn't have a Wikipedia page or doesn't have like a website. He's such an important word of mouth kind of guy, which is a very cool thing to be when you think about it. So yeah, and he definitely plays that up. So yeah, shout out to Dr. Butcher. I told him I was going to be on a podcast about LL, and he essentially, not essentially, he gave this podcast his blessing. That's kind of as close as we can get to someone who kind of literally grew up and came up with LL Cool J. So, and knows his origins and his history. So,
oh man,
yeah,
that's fantastic. That's cool, man. Shouts to that dude. Shouts to LL.
Yeah, shout out to Drew. Oh, and shout out to LL.
Yeah, and real quick, I wanted, for the record, I'm a big fan of when LL had like the necklace with the house key on it, because then I started dressing like that. I was like, that's an inexpensive chain, like your grandmom's house key, and then you put on a necklace, and then you're set.
Yeah.
So fashion icon. I never wore the jeans with the one leg up though.
I did. Sweatpants. I definitely did. The track pants, the sweatpants. I did the one leg. I definitely did that.
I had a green FUBU hat. I felt like I was the coolest fucking dude in the world.
You know, of all the hip hop gear, I never had a FUBU gear.
Ooh.
Yeah, it just never. Yeah, for me too. I mean, I bought it. I went to school, and then I was like, this doesn't feel. I don't like it. Just the name, the lime green. I had like a lime green FUBU thing too. It was a top.
Cheap.
Yeah, no,
it was good because it was a flex fit hat.
Yeah. That was during the era. It was like FUBU lugs.
I had the lugs. Yeah. Yep, I had the lugs.
I wasn't digging that stuff.
Yeah,
but I did have the all dark denim Carl Kanai suit. So
Carl Kanai was the shit though. Carl Kanai was dope.
Carl Kanai plate. I was like,
Carl Kanai was the shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Shouts to Arm & Hammer, but I always wanted a Sir Benny Miles hat.
Yeah.
They named their opening song Sir Benny.
Yeah.
I texted Woods or Loose. I'm like, I was like, dude, I always wanted Sir Benny Miles. None of their fans know what the fuck Sir Benny Miles is. It's being the source all crazy. I never saw human wearing it, but I always saw it in the source. Like, I want to own that. So shouts to all them. Alaska, you got anything going
on? No, man. I'm just in school right now. You know,
I talk about Dead End Hip Hop.
Oh yeah. Dead End Hip Hop did like a cool shout out to those dudes for putting a cool little piece on the Human Zoo record.
Nice.
Shout out to Mike Seatown.
Shouts to Mike. Yeah. And then Next Movement got you guys on there to talk about Killer Mike rap music.
Yeah, talk about rap music that just came out today. So yeah, I guess I got some stuff.
You do. I'm glad I'm managing this for you. Your press junket.
And Ray finally started sending me some mixes for some stuff. So
I'm gonna fucking slaughter this guy. I'm out here shipping CDs for us. I don't get no goddamn mixes for songs I made last year with this guy.
That's because you're shipping CDs, bro.
The fuck. That's what's up. Shouts to Ray West.
Yeah.
You can hear me on the new episode of Real Notes with Cinema Sai. We're talking.
I want to get on that Cinema Sai.
He's a great dude, man. He's a great dude.
Shout out. I want to be on that.
Yeah, he asked me some really phenomenal questions, and we talk about film and hip hop, and it's interesting to hear a younger person's take on like hearing 36 Chambers in like 2005 for the first time, and Doom.
Yeah, that is cool.
It's really cool. Yeah, and how he understands, like hearing that generation catch up on things we just, innately know really well.
Mm-hmm.
But we talk about that stuff. We talk about, movies I grew up loving and stuff. So that's out now. And then you can catch me on the Next Movement from a couple weeks back talking Camp Low, Uptown Saturday Night. That was a good time. And Vegas Vic vinyl is fucking here. Nice. I've been sending every podcast. I'm like, yup, it's on its way. It's in our hand. And then they did delay. So if you order Vegas Vic vinyl, so that's a lot of words, via chongwizard.bandcamp.com, it has shipped. If you want to get it, I don't know how many are left, but now they're available. Buy that shit. Because once they're gone, all the fucking European dudes are going to be flipping that shit online for $450. So get it now. And then we're going to be, by the time this airs, for the general public, we'll be putting up me and Small Pro's new album, Career Crooks, Never at Peace. Pre-order will be up Bandcamp Day. On CD, tape, and mini disc. We're doing it. Mini discs will be available. Fuck vinyl. Get a mini disc. That's how I feel. Yes. I represent mini discs while you are copping all the vinyl. So. Mr. Marcus, just to cash from Papa Day.
Thanks for having me, guys. This is awesome. And I love talking about hip hop, anything, but Queens hip hop specifically. I always love talking because it's so deep and rooted, and there's a lot.
And prostitution and incest. So and stalking people. There you go. Awesome. Good stuff, gentlemen. All right, that's it. Call Out Culture. Check Marcus Pinn. We'll check everybody next time. Peace out.
Peace, man.
Peace.